Welcome to Grandpa's Wealth. Today, I'm sharing the kind of money wisdom I wish someone had handed me when I was young. We're diving into the psychology of money by Morgan Housel, a book that every young person should hear before they chase a dollar or spend a dime. It's not just about how money works. It's about how people work with money. And oh boy, do we make it complicated. Let's sit down together and unpack these timeless lessons. This ain't no textbook. This is Grandpa giving you the truth plain and simple from a lifetime of wins, losses, and everything in between. Get ready. This one's going to save you decades of mistakes. The core truth. Money is not just math. It's behavior. You see, most folks think money is about spreadsheets and smart investing, but it's not. It's about how you behave with money. Two people with the same income and knowledge can end up with wildly different outcomes because of emotions, upbringing, and the stories we tell ourselves. Morgan Housel says, doing well with money has little to do with how smart you are and a lot to do with how you behave. Grandpa always says, you don't need a finance degree to build wealth, just a little patience and a lot of humility. Luck and risk, the invisible forces. Now here's something most young folks miss. Success isn't just hard work, it's also luck. And failure? Often just risk. Housel uses Bill Gates and his classmates as an example. Gates attended one of the only schools in the country with a computer lab. That wasn't just brilliance, it was luck. But here's the kicker. If you mistake luck for skill or risk for failure, you'll make the wrong decisions. The lesson? Be kind in judgment, and never think you're invincible just because you've had a few good years. Wealth is what you don't see. Let me tell you something important. Flashy cars, designer clothes, and big houses. They might look like wealth, but they're often the opposite. Real wealth is what you don't see. It's savings, investments, options. It's the ability to sleep peacefully at night. Grandpa always says, you don't grow rich by looking rich. You grow rich by being boring with money and smart with choices. Saving is the gap between ego and income. One of my favorite lines in this book is, saving is the gap between your ego and your income. Whew, that one hits. If you spend every dollar trying to look like you've made it, you'll never actually make it. Living below your means? That's real power. Even if you don't have a six-figure income, you can still be wealthy. All it takes is discipline and time. The earlier you start saving, even small amounts, the more freedom you'll buy your future self. Reasonable is greater than rational. You don't have to be a money genius. You just have to be reasonable. Housel points out that people often try to be rational. Perfect spreadsheets, perfect portfolios. But what really works is a strategy that makes sense for you, one you can stick to for decades. It's better to follow a pretty good plan for a long time than to chase perfect strategies and constantly switch. Grandpa always says, stick to what works and stop chasing shiny things. Compounding, the eighth wonder of the world. Let me let you in on a secret. Time is your greatest financial ally. Compounding is slow at first, Then suddenly, it explodes. Housel tells the story of Warren Buffett, who made over 90% of his wealth after the age of 60, not because of some big secret, just time and consistency. Start early. Stay consistent. That's how you turn a snowflake into a snowball, and a snowball into an avalanche. Tail events. The big ones matter most. Most of life's outcomes are determined by a small number of events. Housel calls these tail events. In investing, it might be one great stock that makes your portfolio. In life, it could be one decision, one relationship that changes everything. Don't try to predict every little bump. Focus on staying in the game long enough to catch a few lucky breaks. Grandpa always says, you don't need to win every hand, just stay at the table. Freedom is the ultimate dividend. You might think money is about stuff, cars, houses, vacations, but Housel says the highest form of wealth is freedom. Freedom to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, for as long as you want. That kind of freedom, it doesn't come from spending, it comes from saving, from living below your means, from building a life that isn't tied to a paycheck. Grandpa always says, it's not about having more, it's about needing less. You're not alone. Everyone's playing a different game. Here's something that'll save you from a world of bad decisions. Don't copy what others are doing with money, because they're playing a different game. Traders, influencers, lottery winners, they have different goals, time frames, and risks. Make decisions based on your game, your timeline, your goals. Grandpa always says, don't borrow someone else's map. You don't know where they're going. The seduction of pessimism. People tend to take pessimism more seriously than optimism. The market's going to crash grabs more attention than things will work out. But historically, the world moves forward. Progress may be slow and messy, but it wins in the long run. Don't let fear rob you of opportunity. Be cautious, yes, but don't sit out the dance because you're scared of tripping. Wealth is a long game. You're not going to get rich overnight, and that's okay. In fact, that's ideal. The longer it takes, the more likely you're building something real. Flashy wealth disappears fast, but slow, steady, boring wealth, that sticks. Grandpa always says, fast money's loud. Old money whispers. Final takeaway. Know thyself. If there's one thing the psychology of money teaches, it's this. The most important financial skill isn't stock picking or crypto knowledge, it's self-awareness. Know your triggers. Know your time horizon. Know what makes you feel secure and what makes you panic. When you know yourself, you stop chasing someone else's dream. You build your own. You make choices that are sustainable, not sensational. Conclusion. So, what's the big lesson from Grandpa today? It's not about how much you make. It's about how well you manage it. It's not about finding the perfect investment. It's about finding what you can stick with. And it's not about being flashy. It's about being free. Thanks for sitting with me for this one. If this summary of the psychology of money gave you clarity, wisdom, or just a warm moment with Grandpa, go ahead and subscribe to Grandpa's Wealth. Share it with someone young who's chasing dollars and forgetting cents. Grandpa always says, time is money's best friend, and wisdom is yours.